Go, let's go. From Memphis, Tennessee to Freeport, Illinois.
Let me tell you something.
It's the Terry Radio Show. Every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Turn it up.
On Freeport's own WQJT, 105.7 FM.
Thanks for tuning in to the Terry Radio Show on 105.7 FM in Freeport, Illinois. And I'm in Memphis right now. Very special guest. Y'all give it up for my man. As I said, when you see me in those stylish suits, it's from the fashion man himself, Mr. Jason Harris.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
Good to have you in here, sir.
Hey, brother, I appreciate the opportunity.
We, with the summit, I think it encompasses a lot because we got young people who, I always use the word decorum. You know, I see people go to church now, and church was come as you are, not just come anyway.
Right.
You know, when we were younger, we could wear polo shirts, khakis,
yes,
Sebagos, you know, just we went casual. We never came in their shirt hanging out. It was respect, and I think that's what's missing. But for you, how have you seen fashion just be taken out of our community, really, to where you don't see it done respectfully?
Well, I believe it also goes back to just respecting yourself and respecting the space that you're going into. I was brought up that when you left the house, you represented more than just yourself. My dad, he said, "You will not leave here looking like a tramp." And as a kid, I didn't know what a tramp was.
Right.
But I knew I didn't want to be one.
Right.
So it just sounded so terrible. So, but in the same breath, I believe that from a kid's standpoint, some of us were made to get dressed up, and there was no
ifs, ands, buts about it.
There was no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Right.
And from our standpoint, we didn't see the value in it. So when we didn't see the value in it, we made secret vows in our hearts to say, when I get grown, I ain't gonna do this.
Right.
When I get grown, I ain't gonna make my kids do this.
Right.
So that's how we've seen the decline of decorum.
Right. Because it was passed on in the house. Like I said, we went to church every Sunday. You knew you had to get up,
absolutely,
get ready, because like you said, in other words, black folks had more pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our parents didn't have a lot.
No.
But you weren't going to walk out of here looking like nothing. Whatever you had, if they had to iron it, wash it, patch it up, it was going to look decent.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's missing. But the bigger question is, what got you into fashion?
Well, again, my parents, my grandparents, for that matter, my grandfather, I remember as a little boy playing in his hats. He had a collection of hats that he would wear, and I would go in their bedroom and I would play in those hats, and I just felt I felt so grown. And even as a kid, my mom would dress me up again to go to church. She was a church musician, so when she got ready for church, I had to get ready for church too, and she wasn't gonna go out dressed up and have me looking crazy. So I remember being dressed up as a kid. I remember wearing suits to church. I remember having a trench coat as a kindergartner, and that was just
a trench coat.
I had a London Fog trench coat as a kindergartner. So it is, and I knew it was something different about it. I just felt like it was something different, and I knew that was the way I wanted to live on a day-to-day basis. So growing up, yeah, we went through that 80s hip hop, 90s hip hop type of space where, and especially when we started watching, when shows like In Living Color and things like that came on, and the fashion was different. And I remember my mom telling me, "Hey, I want you to be best dressed in your senior class," and this, that, and another. But I knew we didn't have the money to buy those clothes, because by this time, Tommy Hilfiger was big.
Oh, yeah.
Nautica was big. We really didn't know. We heard about Polo, but we heard more so about Polo cologne, more so than Polo clothes.
Right.
So,
We knew Hilfiger, Duckhead. Lacoste.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people don't know Lacoste is a black man.
Absolutely.
So that's why I always try to give people history, like that's a black fashion. And it goes back to, I told you, the guy, Abriad, I think I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but I think I sent it to you. Black people, the Moors, introduced fashion into European, to Europe, because they had no clue.
They had no clue.
So it's no wonder why even businesses, corporations sit and watch how we dress.
Absolutely.
And then they pattern it from cars to you name it, and then put it out there, and we don't realize, hey man, they're watching you.
Yes.
They watch how we dress. We create the trends.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't know that with fashion. And I tell people, you want to talk about the ultimate attractive man is what? Tall, blank, and handsome.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
Right. I left that out just to show people.
Bad.
They didn't say tall and pale.
No.
It's tall, dark, and handsome. So they knew what the ultimate man was to them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, because also your cousin, Jay Lake, shout out to Jay Lake.
Yeah.
Jay Lake, when I first met him, I was like, hey man, I need a stylist. This is before I met you. And then he said, oh man, I got a cousin. I was like, okay, how come you ain't styling me? Because he's real fashionable. You're more, when I need to walk in these big rooms, these concerts, he's more he's younger because he's in his 30s. But he's got a very good eye for fashion.
Yes, he does.
So it kind of runs in your family. So, it was just, I was telling him, like, man, why don't you, I think he later got into doing some type of fashion. I think I forget his eyeglass.
Sunglasses. I think it's called Epic.
Epic, yeah. Epic wear. That's Jay Lake. You guys follow him on Facebook. Epic Eyewear. I think Calvin Richardson, a couple of big entertainers have worn those glasses. But for you, where do you start on? Because Steve Harvey always giving that advice.
And much respect to Steve Harvey, but I do not wholeheartedly agree with the video that he put out there that every man should have a black suit.
Right. That was what I was about to go. See, every man need to have black suit.
No.
And then you take a gray suit.
No.
And I said, okay.
No.
He has a stylist. We all know that.
Right.
And we saw him dressed back in the day with the suits he had.
Yes, we did. and the thing is, I see where it's coming from, and as much as I hate to say it, it comes from a place of a lack mentality or a poverty mentality. I'm going to take this one black suit and I'm going to exploit it for everything that I can. If I need to wear the black pants one day, I'm going to wear the black pants. I'm going to switch it up and get some jeans and wear the black jacket with the jeans and this, that, and other. I get it.
Right.
I get it. But, me being a spiritual person, I believe that God will provide the things that I need. So, and even further, a black suit outside of maybe a funeral, or maybe even if you are,
because you normally don't see black suits unless it's we wore black. We had a black suit strictly for
first Sunday church or something like that, or a funeral,
or a black tuxedo, or something for a big event.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people didn't wear a lot of black.
No, and that's the thing. We came from a mindset or a position of black goes with everything. Right. So if you get a black suit, you can wear it any and everywhere.
No, don't do it everywhere.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. So I encourage young men or men that are seasoned. I encourage them. Hey, if you are building your wardrobe or rebuilding your wardrobe, let's start with a navy suit or maybe a gray suit. Something that is still has some formality to it. You can see the details in it, and you can definitely, if you and we'll keep it in a manner that if you need to wear that suit twice, maybe 3 times a week, you can do that, and people won't be like, man, you wearing that suit out? Because I promise you, if you wear a black suit 3 times a week,
they'll know it.
They'll know it.
Because like you said, as you're speaking, I know people can take it, like I said, the blue, the navy blue, or the gray. You can change polo shirts, or you can wear the jacket with a different color. Matter of fact, you can actually, depending on what you wear, you could probably get the jacket, swap out the jackets.
Yes. Now you could do that. It's easier to do it. It's easier on the eye to do it with a navy jacket and maybe some gray pants or some tan pants or some taupe, like almost brown pants. You could do that with a navy jacket, but when you in my opinion, when someone is heavily working a black jacket or a black suit, it screams, "This the only suit I have."
Right, because I think like right now you have on, it looks like a blue. Is it a blue or in the pants almost look grayish with some blue in it?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, it's almost and that's a nice fit.
Thank you.
Where do we start in the community? Now, that's why I wanted to bring you on, because we need to start talking about this on a regular basis, and we need to start. I'm trying to get at least 20 people to sponsor 20 people, 20 young kids that we can bring to you and say, hey, we got to start teaching them. Because I think, and this is just me, and I say this to all, I challenge all our organizations from church to sororities, fraternities. The debutante ball.
Yes, sir.
All of our children are not A students.
Right.
Or affluent. We got to look, what about the child that needs to know how to do it? Because to be honest, success doesn't just come from your parents. Some of the most successful people I know didn't have much. Most kids I know who grew up with a lot, very few of them just stayed successful. They lived off what their parents had. So I think we have to look at our community as a whole and not kind of have this gatekeeper mentality. It's like, look, an A student, a B student, I'm proud of you.
Cool.
That C and that D student, even F, give him something to work for. Because when you put that suit on,
you feel different.
It's different. So that's why I want to take kids that don't have,
yes, sir, and
say, hey, if he's an A student and his parents don't have, great. Yeah. But I think a lot of those balls, I sit there, because I remember my daughter was a part of one of those organizations, and it was great. And I was like, she's an honor roll student. What about the young lady that does not, she's not on their radar?
Right. Yeah. And just be honest, those are the ones that I really look for.
Okay.
Those are the ones I look for. I mean, even ever since I worked even in the retail store, I got my start at it was called the New York Suit Exchange, and it was downtown Union and Danny Thomas. I loved when young people came in and their parents was like, "Hey, all I got is $200. Can you make him look good?" "Yes, ma'am. Just give me 45 minutes. You go do whatever it is you need to do." I specifically remember a young lady, she brought her son in and said, "Hey,
D. Harris,
this is sorry about that. Go ahead.
This is what I have. He has an event coming up. Can you make him look mature? Can you make him look, dapper?" I said, "Ma'am, I got him." And I promise you, she came back in an hour, picked up her son, and the suit was ready a few days later. When the event came, she was so proud of her son.
Right, because it made a difference just to see.
It made a difference. He wasn't necessarily like a straight A student. He wasn't necessarily clean cut, if you will. I think he had his hair braided and this, that, and other. And this was a time when Allen Iverson was just really making braids kind of cool or whatnot.
He changed it up for everybody.
Right. So yeah. And the thing is, that lady went so far as to, as a matter of fact, her last name was Harris.
Okay.
And she wrote a letter to the owners of the company and was like, "This Mr. Harris, Jason Harris, he took care of me and my son. You have a value add in your company." And she said he felt good. My son, he behaved himself.
It makes a difference. Now let me ask you a question, because you are an educator, you're in the school system.
Yes, sir.
Do they something like this should be implemented once a week in schools?
Yeah. Now I work in the K through in the lower school, like I teach third grade, but our upper school, middle school, yes, they do actually even some of my kindergarten babies and whatnot, they come to school and they're neat.
Right.
They're, now, not to even take this rabbit trail, but I got to. My Hispanic students, they come in polished.
Okay, well, because they have a whole nother agenda, and they were like black folks back in the 30s,
Yes,
40s, 50s, 60s. There are people coming, "Hey, look, this is an opportunity for you.
Absolutely.
Don't blow it." See, we through all of our struggles, we've acted like, okay, we still going through our struggles, but we've lost our identity.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, these kids come over here with their parents, "Look, this is an opportunity.
Right.
I want you to go in there and don't be a problem."
Right.
Because you got to learn English. You got to learn, you got too much to learn versus our kids coming here with a, "Hey, I don't have to do anything anymore."
Oh, man. And that's the exact, that's what their body language says.
Right, and people have fought for that.
Yeah.
We fought for us to get here.
Brother, Again, I teach third grade, and you've probably heard the thing about the third grade threshold, where if a kid is not reading on grade level by third grade, they can pretty much, it's scientific that they're going to be much more likely to commit crime.
Right.
They're going to be much more likely
Right.
to drop out of school.
Right.
The girls are going to be much more likely to get pregnant out of wedlock and
Right.
be on welfare. Again, the third grade threshold is a thing. And just being honest, I have some third graders that cannot read.
Yeah, that's cool. And that was my problem with the board. And I'm not going to go into that whole thing with the board of education. That was my problem with the deficiency that we have in the schools. Nobody's talking about education because we know there are kids. We had a bad reading score. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And if you can't read, how do you start your life?
Right.
You know, because you got to read for everything. Pay
gotta
your
read for
bills.
everything.
Look at a mortgage. Look at renting.
Yes, sir.
Your job. You know, because jobs will give you a contract now. Hey, you know, so even if you go to McDonald's, you got to sign
You gotta
something.
sign something. You gotta read the manuals. And that's something that I've even told my third graders. I said, hey, look, reading is, if you don't read, you will be forced to live life based off what someone else tells you is the truth.
Right.
And you will never be able to find it out for yourself. You'll never be able to find your own way because you're gonna have to live life based on what someone else says is what it is. And that's not a life. That's not what someone else has for you or has envisioned for you. It could be even your parents.
Right.
What your parents may have envisioned for you may not be what's necessarily right for you.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I've also worked in the high school space, and I've had parents to say, "Well, my child needs to go. They want to go to some big college down out of state or whatever. Boom, boom,
Right.
boom." But their grades are not.
Test scores,
Their test scores are not ready. They're not
ACT scores.
The ACT scores. I'm like, they have not. They don't have a 21 on the ACT. And in order to have out of state and in state tuition paid, you need to be on some 29, 30 for
Right.
an ACT score.
And very few will make that.
Very if you make that. So and again, we can wrap it all back around to how a student
feel,
feels when they
right.
put on clothes.
Right.
And in our community, we have gotten away from making those things important.
Right. Because it's Lil Wayne.
Oh man.
It's Drake.
Right.
And nothing against these rappers. They don't know the difference. Look, these guys are millionaires. When they go to award show, they have stylists like you who style them. Yeah, they in there in $20,000 suits. Dave Chappelle joked about that. He used to say his son almost spilled duck soup on his $30,000 suit. And that's what we got to go back and say, look, it's okay to be a fashion guy.
Yeah.
But decorum calls for you come into a school, you should want to dress up nice.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, we didn't have the money. We would go to the thrift store
Absolutely.
and started getting pieces from the thrift store,
Yes,
which
sir.
at that time, those suits were like $8.
Yeah.
And we wore Stacey Adams. We would go get our shoes shined.
Yes, sir.
Like I say, it's a difference when I remember being a kid leaving downtown, and I got my Stacey Adams in a box. Guys shined them up for me. I got my suit. I got my haircut. I felt like a grown man.
Absolutely, you did.
You know, and that's these kids don't understand it. And there's so many dynamics because at home, like you said,
Yes.
a child not reading at home. I mean, not reading on grade level. You have to say, okay, what's going on
What's
in the
happening
home?
at home?
Yeah, normally you go in the house. The mom and the grandmama are 8 years apart.
Yeah.
So I'm just,
Brother, keeping it real. No, and okay, so I'm kind of behind the times because just
Right.
life happens or whatever. I'm just watching the Aretha Franklin story. I'm just watching it.
which one with
It's called Genius with Cynthia Erivo.
okay, yeah, because I think there are two. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm just watching hers.
Right,
I
okay.
I didn't know about another one, but
Right.
I'm watching hers, and to know that child was pregnant at 12.
Yeah, and, she's from Memphis.
Yes, absolutely.
Her dad
Yes.
allegedly got her pregnant.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, her dad. He was a pastor. He actually allegedly got ran
Ran
out of Memphis.
because he had it happened with another.
Right.
And I'm like, man, okay. And let me be transparent. I'm not casting judgment on
Right.
anyone. Hey,
She went through a lot. Yeah.
she went through a lot, but I'm like, to have a baby at 12, that means she was pregnant at 11.
But in those times, they did that. People don't know Elvis Presley. He met Lisa
Yep.
Marie when she was 12 or 13.
Absolutely.
Even right now, the Prince documentary is being held up because Prince met Maite, his wife.
Right.
He met her when she was 12 or 13.
Yep.
And they're basically saying he groomed her.
Wow.
And that was at the time. You know, you got Aerosmith. Steven Tyler was taking a young girl on the road. The mother signed her over to him. Wow. Even I talk about Woody Allen marrying his underage, at the time, his adopted daughter.
Yeah.
So for Aretha Franklin, it wouldn't, The Color Purple talked about that.
Yeah,
Remember?
right.
Whoopi was a little girl.
Better not tell nobody but God.
Grown man over there.
Yeah.
And they sent her, and it's crazy because I got a daughter. Ain't no way in the world I'm no grown man finna deal with my daughter.
No, indeed.
So for Aretha, I don't know what her relationship was with her father after that, but Aretha became just a rider. I don't know if a lot of people know this. The FBI investigated her for years because of the Dr. King situation.
Yep. Absolutely.
And to the day she died.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, Jennifer Hudson was Aretha's pick to play her.
Right.
They put Cynthia Erivo to get back at her. Because Cynthia Erivo she's an immigrant, and she's
right.
She
She's from
said
London or something like that.
Yeah, she said some very disparaging things about black folks. So that's why everybody was like, we're not gonna really support that. They waited on Jennifer Hudson's version because before Aretha died, she said, "This is who I want to play me." Wow. So I tell people, white people don't forget when they take a L, because Aretha Franklin wanted to give Dr. King a memorial in Atlanta, and the FBI stopped it. They was like, no, if she goes to sing, she's going to motivate those people.
Absolutely.
So they shut it down, and she funded, because she funded the
a lot of that stuff.
A lot of them were funding the civil rights movement, and that's what I want us to get back to. You should be booked up. You should be almost saying, man, I can almost retire from school because I got so many clients within the black community.
Right.
That's what we got to get back to. It's like you should be able to pick up the phone and say, "Hey Terry, I got 10 students. Can you sponsor one?" Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We don't do that no more.
Oh, good. And I would even say that it's unfortunate that a lot of us are sometimes scared to ask.
Yeah, because scared, and then we're kind of used to they ain't gonna do nothing.
Right.
I've talked to several people to come into the studio, and I thank you. We had a mix up on one day. It was important to me to have this conversation.
Yes, sir.
And we got to get back to, it's not the politician's job to help our community. It's the community first. And that's where it goes back. It takes a village. You can't do your job as a teacher if I'm not doing my job as a parent.
Right.
I can't, but they'll send a kid to you and say, well, hey, why doesn't he know math? You tell me. He's at home with you.
He's at home with you.
Don't you have him counting?
So, brother, I remember when my 15-year-old son was about 3. He wasn't even school age yet. We went to an open house at a school. If you didn't know it was a school, you wouldn't know it was a school. It's right on, it's right on Ridgeway or whatnot. But it's not Ridgeway.
I know you're talking about the one across the street. Yeah, it looks like it's a state almost.
Yeah, well, no, not that one. It's up the street. It's Westminster.
Oh, okay. I know. Yeah, okay.
Like at Ridgeway Baptist Church or whatever.
Okay.
They have a school in there, and they start teaching these children Latin at 3rd grade.
And
so I think it's like from 3rd grade to 9th grade. We went to that open house when my son was 3 years old. Was nowhere near school age, but we wanted to see what was out there.
Right.
The head of schools, he was a black man, and this school was like 94% white. Maybe had some Asian kids, some East Indian kids in there, very few black. And that man stood up in front of a room full of potential new students and families, most of them white. And he said, it is not the teacher's responsibility to educate your child.
It starts at home.
He said, it's your responsibility to educate them. We are a tool that you use.
Right.
But it is not our responsibility to educate them. You have to undergird everything that we do here. If not, you're literally going to undo everything that we do here.
Right. Unless the child is just brilliant.
Right. And although we have those instances, a lot of times what happens between 8 and 3, Monday through Friday, gets undone
when they go home.
Because when we got
out of school, it was do your homework.
Absolutely.
You know, I played sports, so you had to keep your grades up, and
sir.
that's why I said you have to use motivational tools for children.
Absolutely.
Because children have active minds, they can get bored. You got some kids that a few of them just gonna go in there and get the work done. But I know with me, my mom had to just schedule, hey, do your homework, do this. My coach would be, if you don't keep your grades up, we got to
play.
Yeah, I didn't want, and that's the worst feeling in the world for me to sit at a basketball game and people know I play basketball. How come you ain't playing?
Bro, my grades.
Yeah, and that 6 weeks went by. I was like, no, we're not gonna ever do this again. Man, I mean, you said something powerful, and we gotta leave here. And that's why I tell guys that I talk to, we gotta leave our conversation with a resolution. I get a lot of guys with disagreements. I had one educator, he's a great friend of mine, I'm not gonna call his name, but he's always so smart. I feel like I'm one of the smartest guys. Smart and educated is two different things. I said, I'm trained as a truck driver. I'm trained as a entertainer. I had to educate myself about life. You're trained as a teacher. You're trained in fashion. But if they take you to some other department, you're gonna be like, okay,
what do I do?
I got a degree, but this ain't what I'm trained in.
Absolutely.
So that's why you can educate yourself. It's okay, let me learn more.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what hurts us. We got what I call the talented 10th. Most people in our community get the degrees and act as though it's something to hold over somebody else to say. It's like, no, that's what you accomplished.
No.
Master P, some of the most successful guys I know don't have degrees. Street dudes, so they're not articulate. They just know how their mind works. Right. And I said, get out of that. Just say you're trained to do that.
Right.
Because I would, as you see, I have Dr. Frances Cress, ISIS papers. She's brilliant. But what she was great at, how she educated you about. And she was a psychologist.
Yes.
Very astute at what she did.
Absolutely.
A lot of people who are educated don't even know who Dr. Frances Cress Scott is. And when they come here and they see, they're like, who is that?
Okay.
Oh, I never heard of her. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference.
It's your degree is what you're trained in.
Yeah.
That's what your doctrine is in.
Yeah.
Education, most people get it in life. Like with you with fashion, you've expanded your education of
yes, sir.
Fashion. That's why you say, okay, because when you were younger, you look back now and say, oh man, I can kill him now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, okay, I used to work when I was working actually down here at Freedom Prep High School, and their slogan is "Education is freedom." And I had that T-shirt on one day, and I was out at St. Benedict out there, one of them private schools.
Right.
And a guy came up, he said, man, I like that shirt. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know that it didn't dawn on me that he was reading what I had on the back of the shirt. He said, you know what education means, right? And I was like, I've always wondered what the etymology or the word origin mean.
Right.
He said, okay, do you know who Mussolini was?
Right, I know
Mussolini. He was like, it was a leader. He was an Italian leader, whatever. Yeah. But they called him Duce.
Okay,
which,
I've heard that term before.
That's where we get the word Duke.
Duke. Okay, Duce. Okay.
So Duce means leader.
Okay.
And he said the root of education is Duce, and it basically means to lead out of darkness.
Okay.
So, and I was like, man. So I'm like, yeah, so when we educate someone, not just on some books type stuff,
right,
but on stuff that they can lean on or grab later on,
right?
You know what I'm saying? When we're literally, and I tell my even third graders, and I have to battle with, do they really understand what I'm saying? I said, I'm trying to challenge your thinking, because even at 8 years old, 9 years old, you all have some thinking that is going to lead you in the wrong direction,
right?
So I'm helping your parents lead you out of ignorance.
Right.
Lead you out of darkness, because there are some things that you think, things that you believe, things that you think are right that are not right. And once you learn something different, once you learn better, you're supposed to do better.
And I like how you see, I just got educated on that. I like, I like to learn new things. And there are a lot of people, again, like I said, I got a lot of friends I grew up with, and we always have these conversations. And many of them will come back and say, hey man, I got a bachelor's, I got this, I got that. He said, we'll talk and I'll feel dumb. I said, I'm not trying to make you feel dumb. Right, no. I'm giving you history.
Absolutely.
So it's something you could educate me about, but I noticed most of them, they've really stopped.
Right.
Even when they have a political conversation with me, I said, well, go look up information and facts.
Yep.
They'll bring me their emotions. I said, no, we're not going to. I'm about policies, because like you said, look at the state of just Black America.
Yeah.
what do we have to look forward to?
And that's because we have been relying heavily on our emotions. Even when we go into the ballot box,
Our
we
emotions.
vote with our emotions and not based on policy, not based on what is right. What's going to be the best thing for this
Policies
for this
make a
country.
difference. People don't realize that. It's like even the Asians who vote at a lower rate, they're about policies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we vote for this candidate, what are we going to get? When I say that, well, don't worry about it. Just vote. No,
that's a wasted vote. That's a wasted vote.
White people vote as a group.
Yes, sir.
Whether you like Trump or not, he has his constituents, and they said, if we vote for you, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
People said, we don't want immigration. He said, okay, I'll get rid of that. We don't want this war. Okay, I'll get rid of that.
Right.
He has to run on policy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think when you say it to our people, because we're just born religious and Democrat, and anything outside of that, you almost get shunned. They don't even want you to come to the family. Like, look, man, I'm glad we can have these conversations.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree, but not walk away mad.
Right.
You know, you got to walk away mad, and that's why we can't get anything done. Because when you go to a parent, I'm pretty sure if you say, "Hey, the child is not reading on level," most of these black parents will get mad at you.
Oh, they're gonna get hot. So what you gonna do about it, ma'am, sir? What are you going to do
Right.
about it?
It's at home,
Yeah.
you know. So, man, look, we're going to do a part 2 on this. I want to give you time. But, look, let's put together this program for these kids.
Yes, sir.
So we can do, and I'm already on as a sponsor.
Okay.
Let's find 20 kids or 10 kids, whichever you 5 and 5, 5 boys, 5 girls, and let's get it sponsored so we can get photos of them in here or take them downtown, do a photo shoot. Because I think and then we'll challenge other people.
Yes, sir.
That's why I always tell people, if you're in an organization, like I said, church, sorority, fraternity, once we do something, go challenge your group. Because I get a lot of people like, well, hey, look, what are you a part of it for?
Right.
Is it, because we're all about entertainment. That's
Right.
black folks.
Right.
This has got to be bigger than entertainment.
It's got to be.
Because you and I are sitting here now concerned.
Yeah.
And I got people who said they're concerned, but when they said, we need your help, well,
They don't know what to do.
Right.
They don't know what to do.
right. Well, a lot of them don't.
They don't want to.
I always go back to Emmett Till's mother. She said, I heard about racism in the South. Because she was in Chicago.
Yeah.
She said she didn't get involved until her child was killed.
Right.
This is most of us. We don't become activists until it hits our front door versus it's at your front door right now. I don't care.
whether you want it to be or not.
Right. I don't care where you live at.
Right.
Or how much you think you got it going on. You can be in Germantown. We're going to deal with racism.
Yeah.
And as a black person in America. So, man, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And tell people where they can follow you at.
They can follow me personally at Jason Harris 9 on Instagram, Jason Jermaine Harris on Facebook, We Style Memphis on Facebook, We Style Memphis on Instagram. I have some other stuff coming because again, we have to do something. And as an educator, I'm always putting my hand to things that will benefit our youth. I'm actually on the board of directors of an organization called Developing Noblemen Academy.
Okay.
Shouts out to Robin Dixon. With DNA, we work with boys from age 7 to 17. Actually, we even got boys that are coming back from college that still want to get the nuggets that we drop.
Right.
And it's about, like you said, decorum. It's about etiquette, self-respect, high ideals, high morals. Let's start to educate our people and make them feel good about being educated.
Right.
I think that's a thing. I think the whole keeping it real thing.
Right, yeah, no.
Chris Rock said, "Nah, you ain't keeping it real. You're keeping it real dumb."
Right.
You know,
Because we need more plumbers. We need more electricians. See, we equate education to college. Everybody's not going to go to college. Again, we got people who have been entertainment. I know guys right now who have traveled the world. One sings with Kool in the Gang, does not have a degree. He makes 6 figures easy.
Absolutely.
So we need to tap into, hey, what is your best skill set?
Right.
Because I know people now who have, and you may know them too, who graduated with degrees and don't even work in that
Don't even
field.
work in that field. If I'm honest with you, I'm one of them. You know,
Okay. Well, so what was your degree in?
My undergrad degree was in music industry business.
Okay, yeah.
So as far as like music marketing and communication law and all that kind of stuff, I studied all of that. I interned with EMI Gospel, with all of them up
See,
in Nashville.
I didn't know that. See, I knew you were teaching because I know another friend of mine. She left the radio station and started teaching.
Yeah.
And and it's like, okay, like with me, had I understood, I would have been in media.
Yeah.
I would have been in radio years ago,
Yes, sir.
but I came out of school. Okay, I went to the military, didn't like that. I did jobs and I got in, I'm a CDL driver.
Yeah.
I do okay, I'll do entertainment, but I look back and said, man, if my energy would have been focused, which my mother wasn't very educated,
Yeah.
she just knew, like black folks are taught, just work hard. And also to your point before I close it out, we need to start kids that leave, bring them back into the programs. My daughter's with Bridges. You've heard of Bridges?
Yeah, my 2 sons are in Bridges.
Mary started off as a student in Bridges.
She worked for them last summer.
No, she works there now.
She works there now?
She's a recruiter. But she went through the whole process of in high school, going to Bridges, worked a summer job for Bridges, went off to school, graduated, got her degree, and came back and got hired at Bridges.
Okay.
See, we don't do that in our community a lot.
Right.
See, it's I hate to say it, white communities have a higher value. They'll look at you and say, oh, like I tell people, I could easily, in a sense, say sell out.
Right.
Let me just take my media business to the white community.
Yeah.
They'll jump on that. When I bring it to the black community, nobody wants to sponsor. Nobody wants to do this. Oh, I enjoyed the show. Hey, man, $25 is small.
Yeah.
Just donate because, we do this. And I donate to different people. But let's work on getting to 10 people because
Yes,
I'll
sir.
advertise it on this page. And then I'll let you actually, we can do a commercial about it. I'll video it. And we just, because it's needed. I think
Yes,
if
sir.
we do that, we put the onus on other people. Hey, we
Absolutely.
need you to get in line.
Absolutely.
Take another 10.
Yeah, I love it.
10 go to 20,
Yep.
and then we can get it to a bigger place.
Yes, sir.
So once again, my guest is Mr. Jason Harris.
Yes, sir.
Again, great guy. I met him. You did my son's. You basically did the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did my son's prom twice with suits, graduation.
Graduation.
Great guy, man. Great spirit. I always call him Ricky Smiley, but like I said, great spirit. So you guys follow him on Facebook. And again, man, we got so many issues in the black community. We're at 36 minutes. We could talk literally probably all night about things in the black community, but it's great to start somewhere.
Yes.
And don't forget every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on 105.7 FM, Freeport, Illinois, the Terry Terry Show airs. Thank you guys. We're going to let the music play out.